Okay, welcome to Ideas at Work and Beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the best show on Comcast right now. I am so proud to introduce to you the panel here. We have Mr. Julio Lopez. He is the Danbury former Deputy Director of Personnel. We have Mr. Eric Conrad, who is the editor of Newstime. We also have Matt Grimes from Brookfield, and also Matty Heiser. He is the Richfield Chairman of Board of Finance. So we have a great group for you tonight. We will discuss many issues, but before we start, I don't know how to introduce this, but whatever holiday that you fall under, you would like to say?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
We say Happy Hanukkah to our Jewish friends and Happy Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa to everybody. We don't want to leave you out. Okay? And another thing we want to do is also condolences. Condolences. Would you like to give the condolences today, sir?
I think I would. You know, it was a very tragic passing on Wednesday of Dom Arminio, who was the longtime, probably 45-year guidance director in the Danbury Public Schools. He was at the high school, and Dom, I think he could have retired about 12 years ago, but he chose not to. He stayed on. He was 72 years old, and he was going to retire this June. His beloved wife had passed away 18 months ago, and Dom stayed on because he just loved being around the kids. If we can get a shot of the News Times today, there's a picture of Dom and his granddaughter in the News Times today, and it was just, that's what Dom was. I mean, he was always around, whether it was helping with the drama club, whether it was doing something with sports and everything. He was always around for the kids, and I think it's an understatement, and Julio, you can attest to this, that Danbury and the greater Danbury area will miss Dom immensely.
Definitely.
Okay, also my condolences go to the family of the young man from Richfield.
Yeah, we had a young man that passed away a couple weeks ago now, and it's still something that the whole town is struggling with and trying to make some sense out of, so appreciate that.
Okay, now let's start with that, because we spoke about it last week. Okay, how is Richfield dealing with the loss, and what are they doing now to prevent it from happening?
Well, a couple things. One, they had a forum, a teach-in on teenage suicide. What are some of the telltale signs? There was a forum at the school. The other thing, the Board of Ed has been very proactive in conjunction with the police. They now have a dog that they're going to begin to institute in the school, a drug-sniffing dog, as well as a police resource officer that they're going to put into the school to try and attack that. I wasn't able to go to the seminar on teen suicide, but I read some of the reports about it and talked with John Fry about it, our state rep, and it was interesting what they came up with. The concern is not strictly a law enforcement concern. It isn't necessarily strictly a drug concern, but it's sort of a community-wide. Teen suicide is usually a result of pressure and depression and some of the extreme expectations that are put on the kids. And so I think the whole town has got a bit of a wake-up call and is beginning to address some of these issues.
And I really want to thank Mr. Eric Conrad while we're here, because, I mean, the News Times has done a lot, its part, as well as WLAD Radio, to promote the awareness of this issue. I think this is an issue that does affect the youth of America. It does affect, I mean, I'm a former Board of Ed chairman. It does affect the youth, and people need to be aware that it's there. It's not until, unfortunately, something like this happens that it really hits home in the greater Danbury area or any place. I know that you folks have done a lot to make the public aware that this is an issue out there.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say the response that I thought was telling from this seminar and just in the discussions that we're having is that it really is a community-wide responsibility for these youth. I think the clergy has a role to play in this. They talked about in some of the feedback on this seminar that you need to spend time with your kids. This hits home for me. I have a 17-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter and a 20-year-old son. And I know after something like this happened, we had long discussions about drugs in the school, about expectations on the kids, about, you know, keeping channels open and just letting them know you care. I mean, it sounds trite, but there's a catchphrase, you know, kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. and you really got to spend time with them. And I think some of the clergy's involved. I know I'm involved with a group called Young Life. And Young Life is, there's a Young Life leader at the high school, and he's been very involved with these kids. And I think bringing all those elements of the community together are important. And this has been a wake-up call for us.
Okay. We're going to transition into a issue that you can see that is impacting the local communities, including Bethel, Danbury, and Ridgefield. Now that you need the police department, I guess.
Don't forget Brookfield.
Brookfield, right. Okay, you got the canine dog, right?
Yes,
That's
Zeus.
Fine. The Zeus, that's fine.
Ours is Dakota.
Right. And now the police department is stepping in, right?
Yes.
So my question to you, sir, is since you are the chairman of the Board of Finance, what are you going to do, or the city of Ridgefield going to do, to make sure that your police department has what it needs to do what it's supposed to do? New buildings, equipment, etc. Danbury is the same way. You know, we don't treat the police department the way we should. We don't give them what they need. Bethel is the same way. Bethel needs a new police department. What is it about the surrounding towns that they are neglecting, okay, the same people that's supposed to serve and protect us?
Well, I don't want to dominate that, but I have some thoughts.
Yeah, and I would
on this.
like everybody to discuss this.
First of all, what the police will point out vis-a-vis drugs in the school at Ridgefield High School, what they'll point out is they are there, they are vigilant, and they are doing a good job. I think I read somewhere it's about 73 drug-related arrests over the past 12 months or what have you. However, due to constraints of confidentiality of minors and so forth, they're not allowed to publicize this. They're not allowed to say, oh yeah, this kid got, you know, busted for drugs, but they're being very proactive. I know Chief Leegee very well, and I know he has a heart for the kids at the school, and so they're doing a lot already. That being said, I think what you're talking about a little bit is the police department, the actual physical plan of our police department. We had the leadership of the police department in at our last Board of Finance meeting, and they showed us pictures of the women's locker room in the police department. They showed us pictures of storage in stairwells because it's so crowded in that police department. In our case in Ridgefield, the police department is housed in a former barracks of the state police, and they are in need of looking at that space and trying to renovate it. So in conjunction with the Board of Selectmen, we've appropriated, I think it was $60,000 to do an architectural review of the building and see what can be done. That said, there's 169 towns in Ridgefield. I think Ridgefield, thanks to the work of the police department, is 168th lowest crime rate out of the 169 towns. So they're doing a great job. Chief Leegee and the crew there are doing a wonderful job, but we'd like to look at what could be done at the police department.
You are the chairman of the Board of Finance, so I hope that you're very kind when it comes up to appropriating the money, okay, to improve the
We're
police
kind of...
department. Okay, let's move to Brookfield.
No, no, before you
in
do
Bethel.
that, though, in Bridgefield, the Board of Finance controls the bottom line of the budget. It doesn't decide line items in the town budget. That's up to the selectmen, is it not?
That is absolutely true.
Then the two of you guys can work in conjunction with one another to make sure that Ridgefield has what it needs. Now, Bethel and Brookfield, and we're going to move around. Bethel and Brookfield.
Okay, with this issue.
With this issue.
Okay, Brookfield, about maybe a year and a half ago, got funding from a grant and also raised private funds through the community to purchase Dakota, who's our police dog. And we have done a lot of what Marty Heiser talked about the last time, of going in and doing the locker searches that are so necessary to keep the drugs out of the high school. We've gone through numerous drug awareness programs. We also adopted what's called and Bethel, I believe, has it too, so it's both towns, the Killer Bees, Bethel and Brookfield, the Safe Homes program, where parents sign a pledge that they're not going to have underage parties with alcohol or other substances in their house. And the number of parents we have signed up is just amazing to this. And it's a network of people that can call on, so that you can call the number and know where your son or daughter is going to be at those hours. And it's a wonderful program, and both towns are proud of it.
Okay, what about Bethel?
Bethel, again, I think
they need a new police department.
Well, they do need a new police department, but Bethel's in a little bit of a bonding trouble right now. Their town is bonded to the hilt, I believe.
But they are spending $7 million to somehow upgrade a gym, but yet they cannot build a brand new police department to protect their citizens?
Well, the $7 million is kind of a moot point because everybody has had the opportunity to vote, and they have passed that part of the renovation to the high school. However, that being said, they do need a new police department. It's just a question of when it's going to come with the town bonded to the hilt right now.
Well,
and I think that I don't see it happening in the near future.
Okay, well, the phone number is 792-4101, 792-4101. I would like somebody from Bethel Police call. They are fighting about other issues to me that not so much important, but post 911, we should have the best police departments in all these communities. Mr. Conrad, how do you see the issue here?
Well, it's not my job to say whether police departments need new buildings or not.
How does News Times see it?
Well, no, our building's fine. In
I've been in your building. You could use a little.
It's fine.
They did.
In Danbury, where they are building a new police station, and they needed to do that. But the issue is, of course, that in every town there are tax activists who think that the tax burden is high. In fact, Connecticut's tax burden is high, maybe not as a percentage of income, which is quite good compared to some other states in the United States, but it is high. So, the pressures that people like Marty are under it's not so easy as everybody gets a new building. In Bethel, if you want to look at it that way, it's a choice between a school that a lot of those students feel like and teachers needed to be upgraded. These choices that you have to make, or the police department, and which comes first. Those are very difficult issues. And at the newspaper, we try our best to cover them well, and we certainly hear from all sides. And often in our case, all sides aren't pleased with us. They would wish we'd be on this side or that side, and we're often just putting it out there and letting people decide.
How do you like the area, Eric? You've been here a year and a half.
Well, we will get to him. I want to hear about that. Wait. We will get to him. Actually, you missed my first show with him. He spoke about all that.
Say that.
But we will get to him. I want to leave the best for close to.
I'm the best.
Right. The best close to 10 o'clock. Okay, Mr. Lopez, you had a chance to to be the deputy director of personnel, and I know you deal with a lot of issues in a reference to the police department, etc. And how from the inside, how do you where do you take this whole issue about the police department getting what they want to do the best that they can do? Because Danbury is a very large city.
Correct.
Overpopulated. So how do you see it from the inside? I'm talking about the general sense of it.
There are some plans in place to build a new police facility, and it's needed. You visit the facilities there, and it's amazing how those individuals can survive. It's cramped, it's unhealthy, but they're working on it. And I believe, I don't know when or how this is going to be done, but they're working on it. It was approved. The stage they find themselves right now, I cannot really tell you. But the land is there, and I think they're trying to acquire more land and do some testing, because apparently there are some contaminations possible in there. But they're looking forward to have one, and it's needed. If you go by the Danbury Police Department, you see cars parked. There's no grass on the side of the building, and it's quite an issue, and it's creating within the department, the individuals are unhappy about the situation, but they have to be patient. They're working on it, and I hope that in a short period of time, in the near future, they have a police department that is something that they deserve.
Okay, and the other thing is that that caught my eyes today is the fact that we are talking about post 911 and for our police officers to have the best tools, the best equipment, and buildings to serve the public. As you know, Danbury is overpopulated. We have a lot of immigrants, come in here, whether they are legal or illegal. I am an immigrant myself, so I just wanted to address that issue. And we need to have the surrounding communities be equipped the best way as possible. Now, I'll move on to say that is because in the local section of News Time, there was a story on Bowden and Murphy, talk immigration. And now what we see is that the whole immigration issue again, are now in the forefront. Okay, and so I just wanna, it's quite amazing to see the marriage, Bowden and Murphy talking about immigration. What do you think is going to come out of this? Mr. Lopez, we'll start with you.
I wish I had a crystal ball on that, but it's a complex issue, and we all know that. What plans they have, I don't know, but the reality is it's an issue that we should, all of us, be concerned about. I have seen the changes in 30 years that I've been here in Danbury, and it has to be taken very seriously. The problems that have been created, social issues, are tremendous, and I would say both sides have some good points, but I think both sides have to sit down and really go in with an open mind. What I see most of the time, individuals come up with preconceived ideas, and when they sit down, they know what they want from the onset. So they clash and nothing happens. Right? You have to understand the issue is complex. People don't come here just because they love the weather. Okay? And when I traveled through Latin America for 13 years. When you see the conditions these individuals live there, this is paradise here. I don't care how many you put in a house, it's paradise.
But
and it's a fact. But to try to correct this by sitting down and saying this and then that, even with the wall they're trying to build, those billions of dollars, if they use that money to try to help these countries try to improve the conditions that exist there, you probably minimize.
Right. Well, I think we all know why they came here, and you know, my issue is that now you have Murphy, who just got elected, and then you got Boughton talking about what's the next step should be, and this issue has been in existence forever. I think, to me, they should go ahead and keep the extremists out of this conversation and then talk to the moderates so that they can try to resolve this issue. Mr. Conrad.
Well, I was encouraged by the meeting. The irony of it, of course, is in 2 years there's a pretty good chance that those two guys will be talking about immigration on separate podiums on a debate stage. Mayor Boughton is widely considered to be one of the front runners. There's a couple others to oppose Mr. Murphy when he seeks his second term. That's the irony. But, you know, I have to give Murphy credit. He knows that. And he doesn't know that much about Danbury and immigration issues. He's not from here. And I thought it was an encouraging sign that he sat down with our mayor, as outspoken as he's been on that issue, and wanted to hear his views. I view that as an encouraging sign for the city, frankly.
Good.
I mean, one of the things that was brought up on MSNBC, I believe, during the election is the 5th District itself. When you look at the districts in the United States, I think it's one of the top 10 where immigration is a sensitive issue because of being close to the New York border, and it's a very sensitive issue in these communities. That being said, I think that everybody is agreeable to the fact, and anybody here can attest to that, is that we're, at the end of the day, regardless of the extremists of the issue, and there is extremists on both sides, which you referred to, but at the end of the day, we're a nation of laws. And we expect those laws to be followed so that nobody invades anybody else's territory. I mean, I'm thinking that so somebody doesn't disrupt and upheave the rights of others. And I think that all people on the sides of this issue, and more the moderates, that what you've said, agree that we are a nation of laws. And I think that Julio can attest to it. I mean, in Latin America, there's some nations where laws don't run the nations down there. They're ruled by dictatorships. They're ruled by local police force. They're ruled by local organized gangs.
Yeah, that's true.
But they come here to a nation of laws.
Okay, now let's say this. Of course, Danbury actually housed the non-documented immigrants. Now, you got the what do you call those guys? Those truckers. That
Coyotes?
No.
INS agents?
No, those guys who picked them up on Kennedy Street. The contractors. Yes. Okay. Now I know for a fact. Okay, if I take a camera to Richfield, I probably will see some documented immigrants building these $1 million homes. Now, Richfield, what do you have to say about that?
Well, a couple things. Big picture on immigration. My mother was born and raised in Germany. She came over here to go to college and fell in love with my father in Chicago, Illinois, and they got married, and here I am.
That's my story too, you know.
All right, well, yeah.
But go ahead.
and my wife is from Canada, and went to college, fell in love with me, and here I am, and here she is. What's my point? My point is that immigration this country has obviously benefited from immigration through the years. It's what built this country. The two names, Murphy and Boughton, it would seem like there was a shortage of potatoes a while back, and the Irish came. There is, but at the same time and in the same breath, we are a nation of laws, as you point out, and we have a right to protect our border. If you traveled around at all, you'd see you know, everyone on the planet would love to come to this country. As much as America is maligned internationally, they would love to come to this country if they could get that green card. So there has to be some controls. That said, I think the fact that we have a vibrant immigrant community is a blessing, a net plus to this country. How that gets worked out specifically locally and what we do regarding our laws, I think is something that we're going to have to debate and we're going to hash out. But at the end of the day, I'm very encouraged that we're on a television show by a young man named Ivan, who's originally from Haiti, and we're sitting around here talking. And I say, it's great to be in America.
That's correct.
You know, there are people, I tell them, you know, you can be born in Poland, you can be born in Venezuela, but you can come to America and you can become an American. You can't do that. You're not a Frenchman unless you were born in France. You're not a German unless you were born in Germany. If you come to Germany, you're always going to be an immigrant. But in America, we have the Statue of Liberty. We have a policy of welcoming immigrants, but there needs to be controls.
Good. So that being said, I hope that when this issue, you know, comes up again, I would love for Richfield to give Mr. Bowden a hand, if that's okay with you. Now we have a okay, hold on now. Now listen to this, right? Now you were talking about Murphy and Bowden. You know, it seemed like those guys are now talking or communicating. It's like, what's next? And my perspective is this: you got the senator of Connecticut who said that he may run for president.
Senator Dodd?
Senator Dodd. So that is also open. Who knows? Mayor Bowden might go that route. Forget Murphy. Let's go that route. At the same time, you're looking at the Governor Rail. Governor Rail, to me, it's like suddenly she got elected. She wasn't appointed. Now she got elected. So she's doing a lot of shifting around now. She's putting, a lot of people are getting fired or given a package, whatever, and now she's putting new people in. What does it mean? Why those moves? And I would like for you to talk about that for me, please.
Well, anytime a new administration takes effect, whether it's an incumbent administration or a challenging administration that's coming in the first time, and I'm sure everybody can attest to this, generally they will ask for everyone's resignation. Some people will be asked to leave. Some people who submit their resignations will not have their resignations not accepted, and they'll be asked to stay. Other people will be asked to go to a different job in the same administration. And I think what you're seeing from Governor Rell right now in Hartford is not unlike what you would have seen. I mean, I think it happened both times Mr. Rowland was reelected. Everybody offered their resignation. Again, some accepted, some declined. Some people moved to different jobs. And I think it's very typical when a new administration starts its new term.
Now, so what does it mean for Lisa Moody, Jody Well, Chief of Staff?
Well, Lisa's somebody that has been with Jody for a long time. She was with the House Republicans when Jody was there. She was Chief of Staff when Jody was Lieutenant Governor. She's there for when the first 2.5 years as Governor. And I think that she has every intention of staying on as Chief of Staff in this new term. I don't think she's been asked to, I don't think her resignation has been accepted, in other words.
Okay, well,
although she was obviously in the...
yeah, and right, this is the Hartford Current, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. What we're going to do is this. We're going to take a break with the news, and when we come back, we're going to be discussing the news time, and also we have breaking news for you, okay? 2 hours ago, I personally spoke to Mayor Mark Bowden. I am so pleased to announce this on the show. I know News Time is going to run with it, WLAD is going to run with it tomorrow, but Mayor Mark Bowden from Danbury agrees to purchase all the necessary equipment needed to broadcast all city council meetings, including ad hocs, okay, in the government channel, okay? The mayor said he would do that. So expect to see your government in action starting next year, okay? This is great news, and please, you can call him up, and I hope that the mayor will call sometime during the show to confirm, but if he doesn't, please call City Hall and thank him for doing this, because he will do that. Okay, we're going to go with the news. When we come back, we're going to discuss the news time and other news. Thank you.